Ever created a new C++ class in Unreal Engine only to have it vanish after restarting? You're not alone. I created my first C++ class and I was very proud of myself. Went to sleep, but the next morning, the class was gone. Today I'll show you exactly why it happens and how to fix it. Let's create a project. I'm using Windows 11, Unreal Engine 5.6, and Visual Studio 2022. Let's go ahead and pick third person, C++, and we'll give it a name, First C Project, and hit create. After what seems like forever on my computer, Visual Studio 2022 comes up, and this is what the initial screen should look like. We jump over to the Unreal Engine editor, and this is what you're going to have when you first start up. We'll go and do an initial compile where these squares down in the bottom. Press that, it goes through and does an initial compile. Of course, it compiles fine because we haven't added anything yet. And spoiler alert, this hot reload button down in the bottom is the problem, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, let's go back to the Unreal Engine editor. Now let's create our C++ class actor. We're going to make it an actor. Go ahead and hit Tools, New C++ Class. Let's drag this in here. Hit Actor. Go Next. Don't worry about the class type, whether it's public or private. Usually it's private. We'll go ahead and pick a name for it. We'll call it Flybox. And we'll create and wait for the files to be created in Visual Studio. It does an initial compile, and the initial compile is on the templates which don't have any code in them yet, so of course they're compiling fine. Okay, we're done. Now let's go over to Visual Studio. Here you're going to see a dialog box that comes up. It asks you to reload all. Let's go ahead and do that. Reloading everything. Okay, you'll see the 64 errors. That comes from the fact that we still have the Unreal editor open, and that's why we're getting the errors, because some of the files are being used by Unreal, so it can't open them to do the compile. You'll see there's two files. There's flybox cpp, which is the source file. You'll see the header file, flybox.h. Header file here is, think of it as a menu, and it tells you everything that is available to eat. And then your source code file is the kitchen that's making all the food. Here we're going to add some code to give our actor some functionality. This video really isn't about writing code, so I'm going to just copy and paste into the file. If you want a full description of the code with step-by-step instructions with the source code and an appendix on how to install Visual Studio, please consider grabbing my 45-page PDF and source code for a $9 donation to the channel. The link's in the description. Okay, let's start adding code to our files. Let's go over to flybox.h, and we're going to add a section to the bottom called private. Private means it's declaring that everything that follows is private to Flybox. Then we register a static mesh, which we'll use in the source code file. And finally, we'll register a UI component and give it a range and set the default value to 45. That's all we're going to do to the .h file. We'll go ahead and save. We'll go over to the flybox.cpp and we'll start adding sections to this. We'll add code to 4 sections of this file. First, we'll add additional header files along with the one that we just finished editing. So this file will have access to all function calls in the code below. The next section of code we'll be adding will be right here. This code loads in the static mesh. That will be our actor, and we're just using the built-in cube mesh. This next section is optional, but we'll put it here. This code writes a message to the log window. This is a good way to debug your code if you're having problems. It at least lets you see if that part of your code is running. And then the second part prints a message to the viewport in green letters when you start playing. Okay, now we've come to the last section of code we're going to add. We'll put it here, add it. Yeah, all this code does is add the rotational component to our actor. And that's it for these files. I'll go ahead and save all files up here. We can look through, make sure we don't have any errors. Let's go back to the header file. Everything looks good. Let's pull up Unreal Engine and let's do a compile. It goes through. My computer's a little slow. And let's keep going. Okay, everything compiled cleanly. Now we'll close the compile window and we'll put in our actor. Let's go down to the content drawer, open it up, go to your C++ classes. Let's open it up. There's our actor that we just created. We'll put this in the scene. There we go. It's in the scene. Now let's play and see if it works. Play. And there we go. There it is. Right there in our scene. Now let's say that we're done for the night. Let's go ahead and save all. And let's close the Unreal Editor. And let's close Visual Studio. Okay, there we go. We're done for the night. Now let's come back the next morning and see what we have. Now it's the next morning. We'll go ahead and start our project that we worked on the night before. And we have an error up here. It says the world contains an invalid actor file. Click repair button to repair the issue, which never works. We'll hit it. Go down to your content drawer. If you look, your actor is gone. So what can we do to fix that? The best we can do is we could probably bring back the actor, but we can't bring it back into the scene. To do that, let's go to your Unreal directory. Let's open this. Go to the Visual Studio file, double click, have it come up. It's important to close Unreal Engine. So let's bring that up. Let's go ahead and close it. Let's go ahead and build the project. Go to Build. Go to Build Solution. Now that Unreal Editor is closed, it will go ahead and build. Okay, build is complete. Everything's good. Now we'll go ahead and open Unreal again. So give me a minute while I do that. Okay, we're back in Unreal Engine. Now let's see what happened. Let's go to the content drawer. Okay, our actor is back. Let's go ahead and close that. But if you look around your scene, it is no longer there. So let's see where we can go from here. From here, we can do a couple of different things. We can trash the project, don't recommend, and start over. And along with that, turn off live reloads and only compile from Visual Studio. Or we can rebuild the scene with the recovered C++ actor and just open our project a little bit differently. The bottom line is that hot reloads can be buggy, and you might not have this problem every time you restart your project. In fact, after we compile with Visual Studio, you might not have any more problems. But hot reloads is a huge time saver in editing and creating new C++ classes. Let's just rebuild the scene, and I'll show you how to bring up Unreal Engine that works every time. Okay, let's start rebuilding the scene. Let's go to our actor. We'll put it in the scene, lift it up. Okay, before we start, let me remind you, the text that we put in the source code file will be right up here in the corner of the viewport. As soon as we push play, go ahead and play. There's the text. Now let's look for our box. Our box working fine. Let's go ahead and get out. Now let's try one more thing. Remember that the speed of the rotation. Let's go down to, there it is. It's 45, just like we had it in the header file. And let's make that 200 now. See if this functionality is working. Okay, let's go back to play. And let's look. Yeah, it's moving faster. Okay, so that's working as well. Go ahead and stop that. Okay, let's shut it down for the night and see how we restart it cleanly. Make sure all your progress is saved. Then we'll go ahead and close it. The Epic Launcher will come up. We don't need that. We'll go ahead and go to the directory that has your Unreal project in it, and we'll start the Visual Studio code. That comes up. Now, in your Visual Studio code, let's make sure your files are there. Here's your source code file. All looks like it's there. Your header file, it's there with the private section. Let's go ahead and compile. Let's go build, and then build solution. Let's make sure everything turns out well down here at the bottom. Okay, everything compiled correctly. So let's go up here, and let's, in this drop-down box, make sure it says Development Editor. And here is Win64. And then this outline triangle that says Start Without Debugging, press that. Editor is now come up. Now let's look for the actor. Oh, there we go. It's right there. Let's make sure we do a play, and it's still running. And we're done. If you start your project like that every time, you shouldn't have any problems. Thanks for watching. This is the first video of this channel and the first video I've ever done for YouTube. And thank you very much.